Happy Thanksgiving weekend to all of you. Tuần này là tuần lễ tạ ơn, nên là tuần bận rộn lắm. So it has been a real busy weekend because we had a Thanksgiving luncheon. So everyone is busy. Everyone is busy cooking, and a lot of people pitch in. So we appreciate that. And we ate a very nice turkey luncheon with the family and friends. So that's good. So anyway, this is this is Thanksgiving weekend. So a lot of people are busy, I'm sure, shopping, right, Danny? Did you go to the Black Friday thing?
No, I didn't do any shopping.
You didn't do any shopping? Everyone's doing shopping now. The place to be is Walmart and Target and Amazon. Anyway, I don't know what to talk about today because we're going to talk about what interests you. So what would you like to talk about today? What is you leaving when for China?
February.
February? Early February. So you get to participate in the Chinese New Year.
I hope so. Yeah.
It would be cool. Have you been there before on Chinese New Year?
That's right, New Year.
And where are you going to be stationed in China?
Dangyang. It's
5
hours by bus south of Beijing.
So that's the nearest town is Beijing.
The nearest town is Zibo, where they invented soccer.
Okay. Doesn't mean anything to me. So that's exciting, isn't it? It's great to be able to have that kind of opportunity. I think the plan is the contract's 1 year, but I'm sure you can extend it if both parties are mutually agreeable to it. I would say.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be a good international experience for you. All right. So what do you think? Are you fully recovered from your cooking saga? It's important to. What I like to talk about today is the holiday spirit. I think. By the way, we only have 3 more weeks before we have the Chanqi for 4 weeks, which is very, very intensive. So it takes a lot of preparation for that. It takes quite a while to ease into that. Like the Chanti is for 4 weeks, we do nothing except sit there. And people who don't know how to do it, they go crazy. There's nothing to do. It's one of the hardest things there is to do. One of the hardest things, really. You sit there and do nothing. And I was doing it's a part of the retreat. I was doing a retreat for years. Okay, for years I used to cultivate on my own at my brother's house, and because he gave me a room to cultivate, and I'd had nothing to do all day but meditate and get up. Go to the market to cook for him because that's the arrangement. He would take care of my place to stay in the food, and then all I have to do is to cook for him. Okay, so he would eat dinner only, 1 meal a day. So I would make sure he has, for example, bagels and stuff like that, or cereal for breakfast, and then lunch he doesn't eat lunch, and then he comes back for dinner. And what I usually do, cook a big pot. You gonna have your personal chef in China or not?
I think my personal chef might be me.
So what I used to do as a single person, Roberta, I don't know how Roberta does it, but I would cook a whole pot, and eat it for the entire week. No?
I do, or I get it. go like a couple days and then I gotta have something else.
You have to have something else.
That's pretty good when you can do that, Master. Really, that's very good.
No, that's my brother. I eat every day. I change my my dishes every day.
Oh, okay, then I don't feel bad.
I train him. I said, because what happens is he's diabetic. So the diabetic people, the way he does himself is that they need to take insulin. So they need to know how much insulin they need to inject themselves every day, every time after eating, before, after eating, and so on. So they need to know the proper amount. And you don't want to overdo it. So what he does is that if you eat the same meal every day, then he knows how much insulin he needs. That's the trick behind it. So he prefers to have to know what he's eating. For example, when he goes out to a restaurant, eating in a restaurant, he doesn't know what people put in the food. It could be the same dish, it could be called cornbread, but each person does it differently. Some people put more sugar into it than others. So what happened is that the agreement is that I would cook the whole pot so that every day he knows. The first day is kind of tough, but then the subsequent days he knows what kind of sugar to expect, how much insulin to use. So that's the thing. And for myself, I would eat real simple. By the way, is one Shana is coming. Shana is very helpful in helping us build work on Facebook. She jumped in and the traffic increased like 150%. The traffic, the people who come to look at on our Facebook account increased tremendously. But anyway, so I would eat very simple, and the way I used to eat is a pattern after what my teacher said he did. Okay, the interesting thing about cultivation is that food is one of the fundamental aspects that you need to learn to manage. Good morning. Happy Thanksgiving. I heard this year people are very busy shopping. Yeah, the retailer is doing very well. So I think Shana is here to take a break from her shopping spree this weekend. Yeah. You didn't go shopping yesterday?
I don't like to go when it's crowded.
Yeah, it's quite a melee out there.
I don't like shopping.
Yeah, tomorrow, Monday, Cyber Monday. Anyway, when you cultivate, one of the fundamental aspects of cultivation is eating. Eating. So you know how to eat, and you naturally learn how to eat, and you learn how to manage the food intake, because it affects your cultivation. Okay? And I think I talked to Shana privately about controlling your food intake. It's basically meditation is a form of a practice that helps you manage the consumption of energy. Okay, so what I used to do when I was in my retreat is that every day I would meditate the entire day and night, and then I would eat. So I used to eat very simple, and then in the process of experimenting different ways of eating, and the foods to eat, how much I would eat, I began to understand how to manage the food intake. Okay, why there's some secrets about the food consumption that affects the cultivation. And you get to understand that the way that the the nutritionists don't know, because the nutritionists only base the information on nonsense. He said, because what happens in China, for example, do you know that in China there's an emperor called the Yellow Emperor, who was considered to be the father of herbal medicine, Chinese medicine. He's the father of it. Why? Because he's an emperor, and back then, long time ago, this is way back then, he, as an emperor, a very powerful emperor in China, he would collect all these herbs, and then eat those herbs and see how they function inside his stomach. You see that? So he by observing what these herbs, these things do to him, he wrote down all the function of different herbs. And that's how that's where the Chinese herbal medicine came from, that knowledge came from. By observing what happens to you. The Yellow Emperor, Huangdi. Okay? Huangdi. Huang is yellow, Di is emperor. Now, Huangdi. So, in cultivation, and we've been even more intensive than his case, because what happens is that during the retreat, I started talking about China retreat coming up. All we do all day is sit there and do nothing else. Okay? And it drives you up the wall. Because you sit there and all these thoughts pop up and try to pull you away from the process. And so it's very fascinating. And the process is a natural process. If you participate in the chanchi, at first you sit there and you can't stand it. And that is why when I was doing my retreat, my friends and family came over for a visit and they said, are you crazy yet? And they thought I was crazy because no one could ever imagine to be able to do it month after month, year after year. It's impossible. It's so hard to do. You sit there, and you resist. Listen to me carefully. You resist the temptation to do something all day. You resist the temptation to move. That's the first thing. Okay? Not even move. You resist. You resist the temptation. Just sit there. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's funny to you, isn't it? Yeah. That's natural, isn't it? We stretch a little bit, and so on, feels better, and so. So it is fundamental. Fundamental is that you learn to resist the temptation to do something. To move. Moving is to do something. That's what meditation is about at first. Okay? And you can take that all the way, by the way, for example, to the highest form of attainment in meditation, in Chan. One of the highest forms, one of very high form, is that no action. No action. No doing. No karma. Is it clear? What is no action, no doing, no karma? You do nothing whatsoever. You see that? How do you get there? How do you get there? You get there one step at a time. Okay? It's going to be many lifetimes, by the way. It's not going to be one lifetime. Okay? Each lifetime you work at it, you reach a certain level, okay? And then the subsequent lifetimes, it's much easier for you to get quickly to it. Am I making sense? It's like you know the road. You know, instinctively, somehow you know how to do it quicker. For example, if, let's say, you learn how to ride a bike, You fail a lot, and you scrape your knees, and you cry, "Mom," and so on, okay? And then you got the hang of it, and you know how to ride a bike, okay? And then, so you know how to ride a bike, and then for a long, long time, you don't stop riding a bike. But the moment you pick it up again, you get on the bike again, it doesn't take you long. It only takes you like instantaneous before you figure out how to balance yourself on a bike. Am I correct? That's exactly cultivation. It takes you a while before, like riding a bike, learning how to ride a bike, how to get there to that level of expertise. Okay? And then let's say you die. You run, a bus runs over you or something. Okay? Next, subsequent lifetimes, you encounter the Dharma again, you practice again, then it's much easier for you to reach the same level as before. That you reached before. So, what I'm trying to tell you is that cultivation is never wasted. It's never wasted. You never waste your time. Because whatever you attain in terms of, let's say, samadhi power, or samadhi level you are, the next time around it's much easier for you to get there very quickly. In fact, there's some residual effects. Once you get there, there are some things that develop, like for example, a disdain for food. When you reach some samadhi levels, okay, the more samadhi power you have, the more you are able to control your desire for food, for sleep, for sex. Okay, yes?
So it's a possibility I used to benefit in previous life?
Yes, absolutely. That's why you're not scared. The way we practice is very scary for a lot of people. Yeah, we're very intense. We're very intensive.
Doing nothing is scary?
No, the way we train meditation is very intensive. Okay, and it, for most people to look at it, it is as if it's kind of too intensive. Like, I tell you this, now it's more commonplace because more people are talking about it. Back in my time, 20 years ago when I first started, to hear of someone sitting there and doing nothing is unheard of. It's crazy. I remember 40 years ago when I was sitting, this is a long, long time ago, I was at a university. Yeah, 40 years ago. I know I'm dating myself. I'm pretty old. So I was sitting in a university classroom by myself, okay? And funny, it's a funny thing, and this, I relate to you the experience because it tells you that back then you go through these, you remember these events in your life, you don't know why. But I was, long time ago, I didn't know about meditation. I never cared about Buddhism. I thought Buddhism, especially monks, are a bunch of, cooks. Okay? I never thought much about Buddhism, let me tell you. I was like a very arrogant kind of guy. And I thought religion, because I saw how my parents and the older generation practiced Buddhism, I thought it's some kind of superstition. Superstition. Okay? And so I followed the Western education, so I figure, all these, how the old people were doing, the superstition. There's no proof, no facts. Okay? But, so you tell me, this is to tell you the frame of mind I used to have. And then I went to college. I remember very distinctly that day. I was sitting in a classroom who's deserted during a quarter break. Okay? No one was around. So I was sitting there because I had nothing else to do. I was waiting for my friend. And I was sitting there and then for some reason I became very still. Okay? Didn't move. Physically I didn't move. Like people, for example, when you sit, you move this way, you turn the page and you move this, you shift, you can look left and right. That's what people do. I sat there and I didn't move. I just froze. Just like that. Okay? And I enjoyed that very brief moment of stillness. And a Caucasian man walked in the classroom. Okay, he sat down because it's open. Okay, he sat down, he was doing his thing, he was shuffling papers, looking at his notes and whatever, his books and his carry-on bags and so on. He's fooling around with things. And then he did it for 5 minutes and he stood up and said, "Are you dead or something?" And he walked away so offended. It's so weird. He says he found it so weird. Anyone would sit there still for minutes. That's crazy, he says. This is not normal. So he walked out, he ran away.
He's not normal.
No, he's normal. I wasn't normal. To be able to sit still is not normal. Okay? So, I relate to your experience to tell you that back then I didn't think much about Buddhism. I didn't think much about meditation. Had no idea what meditation was about and everything. And yet when I had the chance, I sat down, I enjoyed the moment's stillness. Think about that. And later on, a lot longer later, I picked up meditation and I realized that meditation did not scare me at all. So this is to tell you that my prior lives I meditated before. That's why when you have all these things, you like stillness. You become more patient. Okay, you can develop your virtue patience much more quickly. Because when you sit there and you resist the temptation to move, the temptation to do something. So you're developing this natural virtue of patience of resisting. Okay? Patience is resisting. Yes.
Sleeping and meditation, I think, is somehow similar.
Yes.
So it's quite different.
It's similar in the sense that you are in more restive state.
And you're quiet.
Right. However, the difference in meditation and sleeping is that you still are alert when you awake. Okay? You meditate, your mind is still alert. Okay? It's still functioning. Whereas when you're sleeping, your mind is to a different mode.
So when you have a lot of nightmare, like you feel like you're more rested after meditation, right?
Yes. If you have nightmares.
You're like busy in the, a lot of
What does it mean to have nightmares? This guy is a psychologist. His mother is some kind of shrink. Famous shrink at it.
I guess the nightmare would be maybe being REM sleep, so your mind is very active.
Yes.
And you're imagining something unpleasant, very unpleasant.
Imagining? He claims it's imagination.
What's imagination?
He claims that, for example, if Shauna has nightmares, it's only Shauna's imagination.
No, I don't agree.
You have nightmares? Do you have nightmares?
You have nightmares?
sometimes.
How often? Is it too personal to ask? Is it too personal to ask how often you have nightmares?
Sometimes I sleep well, and then some time period, like a week, I have like 3 times of nightmare for the entire week.
What do the crazy the people who treat crazy people have to say about that? You are harassed by the yin world. You are harassed by the ghosts. That's why you have nightmares. Sometimes it's from your own prior experience, but more often it's you harassed by the ghosts.
And how do you
How do you go about it?
What do you do about it? What can you do about it?
meditate?
Ask him, what do you do about it? You take Valium. They prescribe Valium. Right? Or sleeping pills. Take sleeping pills.
She says it's not healthy.
I know, I can hear it too. You don't have to worry about my hearing.
Can you also explain about sleeping, meditation, and death? Like there are correlationships?
Yeah, the relationship, but that's talk about the nightmare things.
That's the problem specifically with psychology. It's usually they treat the symptoms and not the cause.
I believe that if you have nightmares like that, the doctors tend to prescribe medication. Am I correct? Is it a fair assumption?
To remedy the symptoms.
Yeah, to calm your mind down. Okay. Okay. And it turns out that, as you said, it's not a healthy thing. If you take medication, then it has residues, has side effects, right? Medication are not natural. Let's face it. You agree with that? Medication has residues.
Strongly agree.
Yeah. So it's not a good thing to prescribe medication at all. So what you do when you have nightmare is that in Buddhism, we have a mantra that will teach you, will give you protection during your sleep so that these beings cannot come harass you. And it works beautifully. No medication. You need it?
Yeah, I've been looking for the Great Compassion mantra in English. I haven't been able to find it.
You have what?
So,
I'm looking for
does that mean I did a lot
Great
of bad things in
Compassion
the previous
mantra in
life?
English.
If it was a couple-
You probably were a bad girl in previous life. I don't know about this life, but
So the boss harassed me because I did something wrong in the past? Like bad things?
well, listen. I don't know about you, but I don't know about prior lives. This life, I did a lot of things I'm not proud of. Okay? And I'm sure it's a lot of habit energies. A lot of things, you see something, you feel like, does it happen to you? You see something, you see a $100 bill, you look around first, right? No one's looking. Does it happen to you? Huh? It's habit energies. You agree? The things we're prone to doing, like lying. Lying. No, Danny is a saint. Lying is a habit energy.
Lying is a habit energy?
Yeah, you have the habit. There's certain things we naturally would lie. For example, your husband asks you, "Are you seeing someone?" You say, "No." How could you? Right? It's natural. You don't even think. Am I correct? All those are natural responses called habit energies. Or, like I talk about seeing a $100 bill and you first thing you don't even think. You look around first. And then there's no training needed. Am I correct? I never had to learn. No one ever had to teach me how to do it. I just knew how to do it. Okay. So we have these tendencies. It's not only bad things, also good things. Right? For example, you see someone like a child in pain. You naturally want to come over and soothe the child, right?
Right. Yeah.
There's some people who see that and they love it. They say, okay, that's right. So also, both the negative and positive habit energies are present in all of us. Okay. So if you say that you were a bad girl in prior lives, very likely, like 100%. Very likely. Okay.
Oh, that's a compliment, Master.
Yeah.
Very.
So was I. Yeah. Yeah. So is everyone. This is why we're humans, by the way.
That's right.
Because humans are capable of both the good and the bad. It's a mix of good and bad. regardless of what you claim to be, no one is the same. So we know that, you have these natural impulses to do good as well as natural impulses to do bad. That's the way we built. That's how we made up.
You have to work on it.
Yeah, and so the interesting thing about the human nature is that we'll become aware of that, and we sift out the negative aspects of our lives so that we ascend, so that we become happier.
And better people.
Better people. What is happiness? Happiness is the absence of unhappiness. You remove the things that makes you unhappy. Happiness is not about accumulation, about hoarding. It's about reducing, eliminating the things that makes you unhappy. For example, if your relative, that important person in your life, in your family, is so important to you, every time you see that person, he drives you up the wall, right? It may be someone very close to you, okay? Happiness means that you need to get rid of that person, or get rid of your reaction to that person. Right?
Avoid it as much as possible.
Either you avoid it, okay, but then you're not solving the problem, but that's, at least you're not as unhappy. Yes?
I've found what you just said to be very true recently. Because my father he's just mean. He's
Really?
He really is.
How surprising!
No, I mean, well...
Do you know? I'm sorry. I need to interject this because it's it's just so close and personal to me. Okay? How many fathers you know who are not mean?
Oh, I don't know anybody who's mean as my father.
You don't know anyone as mean as your father?
No.
Talk to her.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
will say,
You should compare notes. As you get together over lunch, we're going to lunch pretty soon, in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and we're going to compare notes. Somehow, it's the people who are closest to us, the people who are most important to us, who are really tormenting us and make us also unhappy. Yeah? Yeah? Hey, Thomas. Hey, Xianjie. Is it true? The people who are closest to you are the one who make you the most unhappy. Yeah, often. All the times.
Sure, because it's part of our nature that we want to find security from a father, and when a father gives us the opposite of that, it drives us nuts because now we're getting insecurity from where we're supposed to get support.
Right.
And then again, it becomes cyclical because now we want support again, and we want to go there and we
Yes.
can't go there.
I started to realize it's not really what my father does that makes me unhappy. It's all coming from my expectations. That I want him to be in the way I want him to be.
Do you hear that?
When you reduce
It is so profound. Right there. It's not your father's fault. It's not your dad's fault. It's not. He's mean. What makes you unhappy is you disapprove of his meanness. That's what makes you unhappy.
you can't talk to him.
I don't want to. That's one of my detachments, and that's one of the reasons that I believe that I've been able to eat less and I've been happier. Because as soon as I started having gratitude to him for making me angry, realizing that I had an attachment to him, reminding me to let go of that attachment,
Right.
then I become happier.
Yeah. Sever that. You don't need to make him disappear from this face of the earth. Okay? Just cut off your attachment to him. That's all there is to it. Do not allow him to make you unhappy anymore. It's not easy.
It's not easy.
That's why we meditate. Is it clear? Because every time you meditate, you have this thought, it's here it goes again. Okay? That's an attachment that's manifesting itself. You say, I'm still attached right there. You cut it off. Next thought that makes you angry again, cut off that thought. You cut off one attachment at a time. You cut off enough of them. Guess what? You're free.
You rise above.
He no longer can afflict you. Is it clear? It's not his fault. It is your fault because you are allowing him to afflict you. You give him the right to afflict you.
Rise above it.
Rise above.
You should say, no matter what you are, no matter what you do, okay, you can no longer afflict me. That is how you become free from him.
And I believe that there's a second component, because when I remind myself that he's sick, that enables me to have compassion. And that further releases the attachment.
Yes. And that's another aspect of it. Not only that, I propose to you even a more compassionate thing. Okay? If you see, like, it doesn't have to be your dad. You see, let's say use the example of the dad because it's someone we all know. Okay? And the dad drives you up the wall. Okay? And is so mean and so on. And you know that if he's that way to you, okay, you don't like it. Therefore, who's miserable? He's more miserable than you are. Trust me. Have you thought about that? He's a lot more miserable than you are. Because he's only one person. He's making so many people miserable around him.
He's not happy.
He's not happy.
Anybody that's real happy.
Have some compassion. Have some compassion. Do not judge him. Do not attack him. Do not retaliate. Let him be. Just ignore it. All you do is not afflict him. Not allow him to afflict you. And if you are like that, you actually are helping him. Think about that.
So it is not afflicting. Does that mean we shouldn't address his meanness? Or do we talk about things that he did that are mean? Do we not address it? Because I'm not sure exactly how to handle it. In one instance,
It's easy. Yeah, I agree. How do you handle it? How do you do nothing? Okay. If you can't handle it, you call Roberta and say, Roberta, will you yell at my dad for me? And Roberta says, don't worry, Danny. I called my son, Robert. He has a lot of thugs working for him. And they're very good with sawzall and hammers and right? So what you learn to do, what Shana figured out is that you don't do anything. Let it bounce off you. All the thing he does.
Just let him draw the blood and don't care.
Yeah. Even if like he draws blood, ignore it. If you owe it to him. Okay? Don't do anything. Yes.
So I get that. But I haven't still called you because like the last Darumatalk you said you wouldn't try to help the mother because your teacher didn't say good. I think I still need to meditate more.
Yes. Release that urge.
I fear to call him because the way he responds to that back to me, it always makes me angry and I don't want to get that.
Right.
So I don't know when.
The first thing to do is stay away so that you don't react. Right? And then every time you interact, because you can't stay away forever, every time you interact, you watch yourself, make sure you do not react. You do not become afflicted. So use him to train yourself. I'm serious. You're not going to be able to get there unless you keep on working at it. Okay? Bottom line is you have many layers of these attachments. You work on the courses one outside first by not seeing him, because his face makes you angry already. Hearing his voice on the telephone makes you angry already before he says anything, before he can complete one sentence. You're upset already. Okay? You have that experience? Yes? Yes. So what you do is at the course level, stay away so that you don't get afflicted. And then by staying away, you are able to not get as afflicted when it happens, because you meditate. And you work on the next layer and layer and layer, and that's why you keep on working at it. Eventually you get to the deeper level, he can no longer afflict you. And that's when you're free. That's when, at that point in time, you are truly able to help him. You cannot help him if you are afflicted by him. Do we agree on that? If he still afflicts you, you cannot help him. You're only helping yourself, by the way. If he still afflicts you and say, I want to help him. No, you're not helping him. You're helping yourself. That's all you're doing. You're getting back at him. Am I making sense?
Yeah, you're making sense. So what I've been pondering to myself, and I think maybe I just made the decision, is that I was last time I spoke to him, I told him I was thinking about teaching English in China, and he got real mean about the whole thing. And then I noticed it takes me about 3 to 5 weeks to get over when he is mean.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't really feel like calling him and even letting him know that I made my decision.
Mm-hmm.
Because then it takes me a while to set it aside and release the attachment and get the echoing of what he said and all these things out of my head.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to blow him off. Maybe I'm just going to completely blow him off. I don't care anymore.
It's sometimes good to stay away until you meditate, and at some point in time, I have a good news for you. Sometimes it's important to stay away so that you don't get agitated. That's important. The course things that agitate you right now, do not allow those things to agitate you. So you stay away. You sever, you sever the contact. But as you continue to cultivate, you know what? This is a beautiful thing about meditation. One of these days, as you progress in your practice, meditation practice, one day you say, I'm free from him. Naturally. It happens naturally. You just know that he can no longer. How do you know? That point in time you remember, the scene that shows up, that he says something that upsets you so much. And you look and you remember that in your mind and you meditate, and then you suddenly have this laugh, say, oh, how ridiculous it is for me to get upset over it. That means you're free from it. That's meditation. Would you like to know why? Because your level is above that, so he cannot shoot at you anymore. Physically. You're way up here. That's meditation. You keep on rising. Yeah, you're rising. And the words he uses towards you has a certain range. You see? When you're down here, it hurts. You get that? You still are hit. You still are hurt by that. As you meditate, see? So the smart thing is stay away, because it still hurts. If it hurts, you can't meditate, right? So that's why you stay away. You meditate. But as you keep on rising, as you keep on improving your practice, now you're out of range. That's why you remember, you say, oh my goodness. And it's ridiculous how I reacted to what he said to me. I was so childish. That's when you know, you have confirmation for yourself that you're free. Am I making sense?
Yes. I'm actually...
This is reality. This is not theory. This is the truth. Yes.
Master, that's when I started meditating way back when I told you that. I'm not going to say it here. That's when I found out my mother didn't bother me anymore. All of a sudden, she just did not bother me anymore.
Yeah, because, yeah.
Not maybe 8 or 10 years. I don't know.
I'll give you an example. Just between for us, a small group today. I'll give you an example. This is a true story, okay? And this happens to me a lot. We went to review to San Jose to do Dharma propagation, to teach meditation and explain sutras. This is 4 or 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I say. Isn't it? 5 years ago. 5, 6 years ago. And so it's tough. But anyway, we very humble. We go there in the morning, teach meditation, and then find a restaurant to eat. Remember, it's not like a temple here. It says foreign countries, San Jose. No one knows us. We do it with our own money. Okay, this is how we are, and how we used to be, and. So we went there, taught meditation in the morning, and then quietly find a place to eat. And then after lunch, we go to another temple to speak Dharma, and then after we're done speaking Dharma for 2.5 hours, then we leave. We go back, drive back. Okay? That's it. We pay out my old money to go there. Gas is about $4 a day, per gallon, $4.38 per gallon. Okay? So we would rent a rental car, only cost like $20-30. So the gas price is a lot more than anything else. Okay, it costs like $140 just to go back and forth. This is incredibly expensive. And then we find a place to eat. So it's very humble, quiet existence. Okay, we go and do the work just for the sake of doing the work. And one day, one of the restaurants we used to go to, and remember we eat pretty early in the morning, like you folks, like most left home people, they eat at noon, like you, we eat at 11. So this restaurant is open pretty early, like 10 it opens already. So then one day we got there early, like 10:30 or so, 10:30, 10:45. The restaurant is vacant, it's like deserted. No one except for right in the center of the restaurant, there's a table where there's a monk and 3 of his women surrounding him. So I walked in there, I glanced at the monk, I said, wow, that's pretty good. And he's eating lunch. I thought he's eating early. No, it's like his breakfast. Right? So you know what I'm talking about. 10:30 is breakfast for some people. And then he doesn't eat until 1 or 2 in the afternoon. Okay? So you were there, they're eating, this Vietnamese vegetarian restaurant in San Jose, one of the more popular ones, okay? And they're very good because they follow the Master Hsuan Hua's teaching. They do not have onion and garlic. That's why we usually like to hang out. You know which one I'm going. You don't remember, but that's one of those places. So this guy here, the monk sat in the center of the room, okay? And he's sitting here like a king, surrounded by his 3 women who like, oh Master, so we are able to go with you, to eat with you, how intimate, like, that's what you're going to have with me later on at the lunch hall, the Master eating with all of you, oh Master, this is so wonderful, can I take a picture with you? I can show it to my children, that kind of thing, okay? So the man is like an emperor sitting there like, yeah, okay. And I walked in, I took a glance at him, I said, this is what you are, the emperor. Okay? So we sat away in the side of the room, like 5 of us. You, Linda, the Vietnamese guy in San Jose, and then Janice and myself, 5 of us, sat on by the side. The 4 of them, 5 of us. Okay? And that man, that monk there, This happens to me all the time. He took a look at me. I'm the older monk. But now with 4 of my followers with me. Oh, Master, you're so beautiful. We're so honored to be with you at lunch, and they're so happy. And 2 of them, 3 of them, and 2 of them are Caucasian. The Chan chicks are with me. The white chicks. Yeah. Roberta and her buddy used to go with me. You don't remember that day. I still remember that day vividly. So the monk glanced over and I said, oh. Now he's jealous of me. Yeah, he was jealous. So what happened is he used his Kung Fu. See, it happens a lot between monks. He uses Kung Fu to impress upon me, to attack me. See? Yeah, trust me, we have a lot of tricks here. I don't teach these things. Okay. But he uses Kung Fu to try to impress me, to sort of attack me. And I knew where he was, his level, pretty low, if you ask me. Okay. So it's funny. Let me give this picture that I'm sure Danny can see. Like Danny standing there, and Joseph is trying to hit him. Okay? And all Danny has to do is just reach out his hand and stop Joseph on his head. You see that picture? Can you mentally picture that? An adult, putting his finger on the top of this Joseph guy, and the boy keeps on going like this, and he's gonna get tired and can't do anything. You see what I'm talking about? So, I didn't even have to do this. Okay. He can shoot all he wants. He cannot reach me. Okay. And guess what? So he started shooting at my 4 companions. Okay. Now, the white chick's Kung Fu is much higher than his. Therefore, it didn't bother me. Okay? And the other guy, I protected the other guy because the other guy's Kung Fu is lowest. So I protected the other guy, so he's nothing he can do to the other guy. I left Janice alone. Because I knew Janice back then was much lower than yours, but she's much higher than him already, the monk already. So I left her alone. Back then, the monk was 3rd dhyana. Janice was at 5th samadhi. I have a pecking order of everyone, so I knew where things are. So I wouldn't allow him to reach that local man who accompanied us, because that man's Kung Fu is very low. He's going to get affected. He's going to get affected. So I protected him. The monk can't do anything to me. Okay. The monk couldn't do anything to the 2 of you. The 2 Kung Fu is way above him. Okay. So sure enough, the 2 of you talk and laugh, as nothing happened. You don't even remember. You weren't even aware he was trying to attack you. He couldn't do anything to me. You look at me he saw nothing, no reaction whatsoever to everything he did to me. And so he got upset. He said, I'm going to use my Kung Fu on his people, his companions. So he couldn't get to the men. So he got to the white chicks. He couldn't do anything to the white chicks, so she attacked Janice. Same thing. Okay. What happened? Janice was so afflicted. She was so unhappy. She felt like running away from her right. She told me later. It's funny because I said, yeah, I did it on purpose to give you a taste of what it's like to be attacked. Okay. So anyway, so it's this is a fact. If your Kung Fu is higher, there's nothing the lower level people can do. They can do anything to you. Okay. Okay. Same thing. The father and mother. The reason, your level is higher in your father. Okay. The reason, in terms of concentration power is higher. Okay. And the reason that you're affected by him is because you allow your emotion, you allow him to get to you emotionally. That's all he does. Yeah. Mentally, he's no way, he cannot penetrate your shield. He cannot. You're stronger than him mentally. Your focus is much stronger. Oh, but you still allow him to emotionally disturb you. Okay. As you meditate, you resolve these emotions. You rise above these emotions. That's when he can affect you anymore. It's natural. You don't have to do anything. Just meditate. It takes care of itself. Does it make sense? That's all there is to it. Mm-hmm. She couldn't, that means that she could not afflict you anymore. See, mom, as you know, have a lot of tricks up their sleeves. They know which buttons to pull, to push, which strings to pull. Dads too. So now they try all the things on you. She tried all those things on you, and they didn't affect you anymore. That's why she said, I don't recognize you anymore. That's why. They no longer work. Okay. So our practice will help you ascend a lot quicker and free yourself from those things. Okay? It's 11 o'clock. Shall we go to lunch?